Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. What is your definition of a successful leader? I'll tell you mine. It's someone who has the following qualities. Someone who is an effective communicator, someone who prioritizes collaboration, someone who leads by example, and someone who demonstrates integrity. And have I worked for someone who possesses these qualities? Actually, I have been fortunate to work for several amazing bosses here at MPS. But today I'm just going to focus in on one. From 2004 to 2009, I worked for Dr. Dave Netzer. He was the former Dean of Research here, and he started a field experimentation program. It was initially called STAN. And then when I joined around 2004, it transitioned to TNT, which stood for Tactical Network Topology. He effectively communicated with then Congressman Sam Farr and was able to get congressional aid, that's congressional money, passed through SOCOM to NPS, Special Operations Command, excuse me, and that was then sent to NPS, and we were able to conduct quarterly experiments that went for a week down at Camp Roberts. It's with that effective communication that he got that congressional money and was able to keep our sponsors happy and keep the program alive. At these quarterly field experiments, we had various personalities. We had a wide range of people participating. That would include special operations people, academic professors, and industry people, all commingling at Camp Roberts. And Dave could work effortlessly with all of them and get these various groups working together. And at the end, towards the end of each week, we would usually conduct a wide scale scenario. And we would try to include as many of the participants as possible with their technologies. And it usually was a red versus blue scenario. And I was usually in charge of the red cell, and the guys would call me Red Queen, which is funny, but my point is that Dave was able to get all these different participants working together, collaborating towards a common goal. So Dave also led by example. He never asked me or any of the guys to do anything that he wasn't willing to do himself. He would get to the field early, he would stay late to make sure everyone was able to conduct their experiments. And no job was too small for him. That included even cleaning the restrooms. And he was a distinguished professor, but it was not beneath him. And I can remember a time, we would usually clean at the end of the week, but it was midweek, so I think we had a VIP coming, and he was in the bathroom, the men's restroom, trying to clean it up and make it look nice. And finally, one of the guys, I think it was a master sergeant, like couldn't stand watching Dave do this and kicked him out and cleaned the bathroom himself. So he had a way of making people want to please him. Obviously, Dave had a huge impact on my career. I learned so much from him. He retired in 2009 and gained emeritus status. I've always tried to emulate his impressive leadership skills ever since. So when I started this project in Pathways, it had me do this assessment to discover my leadership style, and this is what it produced. My top 4 scores were affiliative, altruistic, democratic, and authoritative. And then I didn't score quite as high on coaching, pace setting, bureaucratic, and innovative. So obviously I have room for improvement. And I'm just going to focus on these top 4. So affiliative is which creates a cohesive unit by emphasizing teamwork. And I think I learned this from Dave and his collaborative scenarios. And he had to use both his communication and collaboration skills. Next is altruistic, and that leader motivates by empowering and using an ethical approach. And I learned that from Dave. He led by example. Again, he never asked anyone to do something that he wasn't willing to do. From he was willing to go get money from sponsors to cleaning the restrooms. and he did everything with the utmost integrity. Next was democratic, and this leader motivates by providing opportunity for participation. Again, the scenarios required a lot of input from various participants and getting them involved, and it just required a democratic leadership style. Authoritative is the next one, and this is Dave definitely inspired enthusiasm for the mission. Let me go back to this slide. So you can see here, it actually started back with a thesis student in 2002, and it went on, and he left here around 2009. I left around 2013, but TNT transitioned into GIFIX, and it's still going on to this day. This field experimentation program has been going for 20 years. That is amazing, especially for the government. And Dave laid the foundation for all of this. And I would also say that Dave had an authoritative way about him. I would have students come up and ask me, who's that general you work for? And Dave was never in the military. He just had this commanding presence. So I'm happy with what I've learned from Dave. And I think that assessment and pathways showed me that I did pick up on some of his admirable qualities. I admit I try to emulate his leadership skills, which has led him to 42 years of successful civil service to our country. I don't know about you, but I think I'm on the right track. Mr. Toastmaster,